Before the war and immediately after, he had served 3 terms as president of the Screen Directors Guild. In 1950, he was a member of the governing board when charges of un-American activities and blacklisting divided the film industry. Cecil B. DeMille, the Guild's most famous member, initiated a bylaw that would require every director to sign a compulsory and public loyalty oath. The president of the Guild was opposed.
Joe Mankiewicz was then the president, a very good one, and the faction which was headed by Mr. C.B. DeMille decided that he was not worthy to be the president and wanted him removed, and organized a vast campaign of persuasion, which also included intimidation.
When they started to unload Joe Mankiewicz, they sent telegrams to all the board members. I got this telegram that said they were doing this action, and it was about 6:30, so I called the Guild and the phone doesn't answer. Well, that put me to wondering.
That's when he arrived at the Directors Guild and wanted to find out how all of this could have taken place without anybody in the Guild knowing about it. And then he had with him Martin Gang, a lawyer, and his cross-examination, George's, would have done honor to Clarence Darrow. He had every one of these girls testify that the Guild had been for months run from Cecil B. DeMille's office.
DeMille actually tried to putsch in the night and sent motorcycle riders out and tried to get a vote on the part of the whole membership to disavow Mankiewicz. And then when this came out, why, he was thoroughly discredited at a very, you probably know about that famous meeting.
The assistant directors at that time had no vote, and they were sort of relegated to the balconies, like the rabble. And below them sat the majesty of the senior directors. And without exception, they were there, and I have never witnessed a more emotional meeting in my entire experience. DeMille spoke, I spoke. Then DeMille read off in an attempt to show the foreign influences that were at work.
Mr. DeMille stood up and said, this document was signed by Mr. Weiler, by Mr. Wilder, by Mr. Zinnemann, and he made a point of pronouncing it in that way to accentuate the fact that we weren't born in this country.
George waited until exactly a perfect moment of timing, and he then read an account of the detective work he had done. First, he resigned from the board and said, I want no part of this. I want no part of this as an American, as a director, or as a human being. He says, because this is a conspiracy.
I said, there's the indictment. I'm one of the board members that's responsible for this. There's only one fair thing I can do. I resign. And I recommend that every other man on this board that's responsible for this in any way by omission, as I am, or by being a party to this conspiracy, resign.
That was when John Ford got up and said, my name is Ford, I direct Westerns. And then he looked over at DeMille. And he said, Cecil, he said, look, we've been together since 1916, was it, 15? I respect you, Cecil. And my heart was sinking. I said, my God, after everything that Stevens did, Ford, you're going to wipe this out? He says, you make movies better than that the world wants to see, and nobody in this room can touch you. He says, but I don't like you, Cecil. And I don't like a goddamn thing you stand for.
George brought all the influence to bear that he possibly could to direct these assaults away from these people. And in fact, defend the Constitution of the United States. He was a very true, patriotic American, in the best sense.